Hey everyone, so today I'm going to share with you how I do my jelly plate printing. And all of these stencils that I'm using today I bought on Etsy, a shop called Howsewears. It's spelled Howsewears, all one word. And I showed you that I have my brayer out. And the first colors that I had decided to use, I wanted to do some fallish type printing, so I chose three colors that I felt were very, much like the leaves when they fall off the trees here up in the northeast US. And just be careful how much you use the brayer to spread the paint around. You don't want it to get muddy, and it was just starting to get muddy looking at that point. And then I go ahead and the brayer I put on, I wipe everything off of it on another piece of paper. And here I'm just using the back of a page that my granddaughter had in her coloring book. And that is how that came out. I think this stencil right here, well, all of these I really enjoy using. I just think that this is the prettiest. So I'm taking the stencil off of the paint because I'm going to get another image, right? So when I pick this up, that's the paint that was on the underside of the stencil. And I have this big bin of water that I throw the stencils in as soon as I'm done with them. And it helps to keep them clean. So now I have pulled the stencil off of this, but guess what? There's still an image on there, right? Because the stencil was on there. So I'm going to go ahead and put this piece of paper on and check this out. Isn't that awesome? Look at all of there's like so many lines and everything in it. It's really cool. So now I'm going to purple and yellow and putting it on with my brayer. And again, not doing too much with spreading it around because I don't want it to get muddy. So this particular stencil is just like all shapes. And what I've decided to use on this one is a coupon, right? So a page from coupons that I get. And look at that, because that page already has green and yellow. Oh, it's just beautiful. I really like the way that came out. It was the first time I used a page from a coupon. So here I'm using deli paper, and look at that. Like, to me, that's like yummy. You're going to hear me say that word yummy a lot because I just think that this mono printing, which is what jelly plating is just awesome. So these are old coffee filters. So since I have my Keurig, I don't use these anymore. And I pulled them out of my kitchen cabinet and decided to use them in my crafting. And I just love the way that these came out. Now this is just my first layer of the printing, so I will be going back in and doing another layer or two. So this particular paint is actually poster paint. The other paints, excuse me, that I'm using are all acrylics, the inexpensive acrylics. But when I was at Michael's, they had this paint on sale. It's 8 ounces, and it was on sale for $1.79. So I bought 4 of them. So it doesn't have to be a certain kind of paint. And here I'm just showing you that that's like my wipe off paper. You have to have, oh, let me tell you about this. So these are actually things that my granddaughter, toys that my granddaughter doesn't play with anymore. So, well, there's this heart. I remember giving her for Valentine's Day this little heart once that had candy in it. And I'm just getting the images onto the paint. And like a couple of those pieces, like that one right there, is from Play-Doh. I have a whole box of this stuff that she used for Play-Doh that she doesn't use anymore. So I figured I would give it a try here. And I just love the way it came out. Now this particular piece of paper is actually labels, Avery labels. And I wanted to give it a try, and to see how I will use them in the future, so I'll let you know on that. But you can see I just keep putting paper after paper down. I mean, you get out of each time that you put paint down, I don't know, like watch this, watch how many I get out of this. So here's the heart stencil, and I'm using the deli paper, and look at that, that's yummy. This is some yummy stuff going on here. So this is blue and gray. Look at how awesome that is. This particular, these stencils right here, or these prints, I'm actually going to be putting 3 layers on. So this is just the first layer. And I just take a piece of paper just to rub it around so I don't get any paint on my hands, which I do anyway, but still it keeps a lot of paint off of your hands. Look at that. So I'm taking that same stencil and just doing it again because there was still paint on the back of it. So when I lift it up, you'll see. I mean, it's not super strong, that design, but it's a great first coat. And then I'm pulling up the paint again from the jelly plate, and still, again, this is still the same blue and gray paint that I put on several, pages ago, where I can just keep putting paper on and on and on, and it just, there's just a lot. You get a lot out of it. So these are receipts, and I think the receipts are one of my favorite things to jelly plate. I like the size of them because I make paper flowers, and I just love those because they're not too thick either. So at this point now, I'm going to start the second coat of the designs on the papers that you saw me make already. So I'm going with a lighter color here because you can see right there at the top of the screen, I'm going with the dark prints that I first made, so I want to get some lighter color on top of them. So I'm just going to go ahead and use this particular stencil that has the numbers on it. And look at that, isn't that yummy? That is yummy. I'm sorry, I love it. I love it. So I'm going to go ahead and pull the stencil off of the jelly plate and go ahead and put it on top of this print and rub it down. And when I peel it off, it just gives, just a little bit color, right? Something just a little bit different on it. I'm going to take that same stencil. I did not put it back on the jelly plate, so this is the second, time that I put it down on paper, and it still had some yellow paint on it, yellow and white. And it was just what this needed. Now, this is... the leaves that I had done earlier. And watch this. Oh, isn't that awesome? Look at that. Oh, I just love it. So now I'm using some more of the poster paint that I bought from Michael's on clearance. And these happen to be like my favorite colors. Yellow and pink, and it basically makes orange, so just love it. And I just showed you there that I wiped the brayer off on that piece of paper. And here I'm going to go ahead and use the heart stencil, and I am doing another layer on the purple and the yellow. And I think that these are my favorite, I guess because of the colors of them. Just, I have to use the word yummy. Look at how yummy that is. I know that you guys understand what I'm saying, because it is, it's yumminess, right? I mean, because you just don't know what you're going to get when you pull those up, and look at that. How awesome is that? So you need a lot of space when you're doing mono printing, because all of these papers, I have like spread all over my craft room floor because they have to dry. So you need a lot of space. Look at that. Look at all the color in that. Oh, and I think that this was my favorite. Now this paper that I'm using, so when you get like a 12 by 12 scrapbook collection pack, Oh, look at this. This is my favorite. Look at this. Oh. And these are wipe-off pages where I wipe the brayer off on it. But anyway, so this paper right here that I'm using, when you get that 12 by 12 collection pack, it just has that 12 by 12 paper in there that kind of shows everything that you're getting in that collection. So that's what this paper is. And look at this. It just goes on and on and on. So you just keep using that same set of colors until it's like basically all off. Look at that. Look at all. Oh, love it. And you can see under this paint. So here I have the pink, but under that you could still see that there was some yellow. So don't be afraid. It doesn't have to be perfectly clean every time. And here I'm just putting, I have these big old cards that I'm just cleaning the brayer off on it, and I showed you an envelope there as well that I cleaned the brayer off. And so here is the second coat on this. Look at, oh, ooh. Look at how pretty. This particular, these papers right here that I'm showing you right now, I actually put 3 coats on these, so I will show you the third coat in a couple minutes. Look at how pretty that is. Gorgeous. Gorgeous. And I use these in my journals and in my scrapbooking. So, and like I said, I make flowers out of them. I send pieces in Happy Mail. Those were business cards, old business cards that I had. And I'm finishing off the receipts. Look at that. Oh, absolutely yummy. That has to be the word for this, is yummy, because I just think that they are awesome. So here's the second layer on this particular deli page. And the deli paper you can get from like Sam's Club and that kind of thing. And now I wanted to put just a little bit of yellow. So you see I have a little bit of paint on there. Not as much as I have been putting on because I just want a tinge, right? I just needed a third color on this. Just a little bit. Look at that. Oh my goodness. Absolutely beautiful. So here I'm going to put the third coat on this. And I had to make sure that these were really dry because I did use the heat tool on these pages because they weren't quite dry. And I wanted to make sure that they were. Look at all that. And then I'm going to do the stencil on this piece here. So at this point I have stuff everywhere, right? It's on the floor. It's all over my tables. It's everywhere. It took me about an hour and a half to do all of this. So, yeah, look at that. That's just yummy. And then these are the last pages that I'm going to go ahead and put the second coat on. And I'm just showing you that it's the Avery labels. And I plan to use these probably in, well, certainly my art journaling, but I think I'm going to use them in my scrapbooking as well. Now, this particular paper that I'm using right here it's junk mail. It's from Verizon. It's a piece of mail that I would have thrown, in recycling. And this is one of the wipe-off pages that I used for my brayer. And that's one of the pieces of paper from a scrapbook paper collection pack. And it came out so pretty. And then here's just a few pictures, close-ups for you. And I hope that that you like this. And, let me know. I love comments. And if you have any questions, just let me know. And this is my favorite one right here. And subscribe. Thanks. Bye.